y'all, it's Sierra, aka Capricorn Moon Goddess, back with another video for you all. This is just more of a story time type of video. It may be one long video and it may be several videos, I'm not sure, but just wanted to come to you all to let you know that I quit my corporate job last week. I gave my 2 weeks notice on either Wednesday or Tuesday of last week, and my last official day is March 10th. However, I will be turning in my equipment tomorrow. I do work from home, so I will be going to turn in my equipment tomorrow. So I guess I'm done working, even though my last day is the 10th. You know how they do. I think they want to make sure you don't do anything crazy or whatever. Now, I mean, they know me. They know I'm going to leave gracefully. I'm never going to do nothing crazy. And I actually wanted to continue to work to get my stuff done just to make it easier for my coworkers. But hey, they took away my access to the system that I need to use today. So, yeah. I am officially unemployed right now, and I don't know what I want to do. I feel like I'm going to just stay self-employed and see how that goes. As you all may or may not know, I do have my own business, so I do make and sell candles. I also am a tarot reader and a life coach, so I do have clients that I do readings for and life coaching. I also make and sell oracle decks and journals and books. I have 2 books out right now. One of the most recent ones is the How to Start a Candle business book. So I just got this printed copy in the mail. Okay, so if you're interested in learning how to make candles, there are actually recipes, at least like 13 recipes that tell you exactly the jar, exactly the wick, exactly the fragrance oil, where to get all of the materials, the measurements, all of that is in here to help you learn how to make candles with step-by-step instructions on how to advertise and all that stuff. So I have another book coming, and I have another book that I'm going to be writing. Actually, I have 2 more books that I need to write. So yeah, I have some other things going on and some other sources of income. However, it is still scary, but not scary. So I've been knowing for about a year that I was going to quit my job, and that is because, like I said, I am very intuitive. So I do readings. I do tarot readings on myself and other people, but I also have readers that I go to that I consider to be more advanced than I am. So I've had about 3 different people tell me last year and the year before, you're going to be self-employed by the end of 2022. Well, we already got past 2022. Technically, it's 2023. It is the first day of March in 2023. So it wasn't exactly by the end of 2022, but it actually did happen. And I have been told you're going to be fine. You're going to take off. Everything's going to be fine. Basically, the situation was you can't really prosper in your business the way you want to if you are trying to split your time between working for somebody else and trying to run your business. I tried to do both for as long as I could. I was making a pretty nice amount of money. I was making at least $75,000 a year at my job. I am or was a property claim adjuster at an insurance company. So if you had like a fire that happened at your home, or if you had water damage or hail damage, or, I was, one of the people that coordinated everything, set everything up for you, helped you to get your life back to how it was before. So, and me being a single mom, that was income that I appreciated. Okay, I'm how old am I? I'm 32, single mom. 75,000 a year isn't bad. Okay, I did not finish college. I went to college. I didn't finish college. So with all of that said, I felt like I was in a good spot. I've always been extremely intelligent and extremely smart. It's just hard for me to fit into the confines of college and people telling you what you need to learn and this, that, and the other. And I also had a really hard time in corporate America because a lot of people in corporate America aren't smart. So if you are a really intelligent and smart person, you stand out like a sore thumb. People kind of don't like you. If you were young, if you're a millennial, you kind of have that working against you. If you are black and a female, you have that working against you. There is a difference between the way black males and black females are treated. Black men, black women are treated in corporate. I feel like black women have it a little bit worse because people just aren't gonna step to like a masculine black male the way they're gonna step to a woman. And also they're men, so it's still kind of a man's world, especially in the corporate world. So they have that masculine quality about themselves that kind of helps them in the workplace, in my opinion. All of this stuff that I'm saying, I have stories to tell about it. So I probably will be doing more than one story time to kind of go over, because I worked at my job for like 6 or 7 years. And I've been working since I was 16, but this particular job, I've been there for about 7 years. It's been a lot of drama. My feelings were hurt on several occasions. I was taken advantage of on several occasions, okay? Not being paid what I deserve to be being paid. I should be making more than 75,000 a year at this point, especially with the work that I put in and the quality of work they got for me. Actually receiving proof that they were paying other people more than me who weren't doing half as much as I was. There was issues with me and management. I had a manager that really did not like me. She started off like a mother figure, so that's kind of crazy. She was a really big supporter of me and very encouraging in the beginning when I first started there, but it's kind of like eventually I feel like she started to become intimidated by me, because again, I didn't finish college, but I'm very smart, very intelligent. I know who I am. I'm very articulate. You can't just come to me and tell me any old thing. And if you try to go toe to toe with me in a verbal altercation, like, you just probably gonna lose. You gotta really know what you're doing. Like, you gotta know what you're talking about to try to come up against me. So it got to a point where people like me. They like my personality. They like that I'm the type that stands up for everybody. I stand up for myself and everyone else, my coworkers at work. I got some things changed to kind of help us, the employees, okay? And I was very knowledgeable. So people would ask me questions all the time. And I feel like she started to get intimidated by that, because she was working there longer and she eventually moved up to manager status. So I feel like she didn't like the fact that people always asked me for help. People had a great amount of respect for me, even though I was one of the youngest people there. This young black girl that didn't even finish college, and everybody's asking her questions, and I've been here for years and years and years. I'm twice her age. You know, it just became a very contentious relationship. It was almost like when the student surpasses the teacher doesn't want you to surpass them, so they start to try to do things to suppress you and push you down and make people feel a certain kind of way about you, talk bad about you. She was literally like picking fights with me. She was literally trying to find something wrong with everything I was doing, and it was so obvious that she was trying to find stuff to complain about. So we had to go back and forth, because look, you're not gonna keep coming at me and I'm not gonna say nothing back to you. I'm just gonna do it in a way that is not, I'm not gonna get in trouble for doing it. I'm still gonna be able to tell you about yourself, but I'm gonna document everything. So I kept a log, emails, all kind of documentation of our correspondence back and forth, where she was literally trying to say I was doing stuff I didn't do, and I would have to go prove to her, no, I didn't do this. Or she was trying to say I did something wrong when I really didn't do something wrong. That's another thing. You're telling me I'm wrong, but you're wrong. So now we're getting into it because you're trying to tell me I can't pay a customer something, or I can't do this or do that. and you're actually wrong. Well, I'm not about to short this customer on their money because you're wrong. Okay, so now I'm in a position where I got to tell you, no, I don't think that's right. So now it's like you're always being argumentative and trying to argue with me all the time, and it's like, not really, you're just wrong. You just don't know how to comprehend. So when you are in insurance, you have to be able to read policies and understand policy language, and sometimes it's like up for debate as far as what something means. Sometimes the language is ambiguous, sometimes it's straight to the point. A lot of stuff can be open to interpretation, but you're always supposed to lean on whatever is best for the customer. So if there is ambiguous language and it's kind of hard for the lay person or the regular person to kind of figure out what it means, we are supposed to lean on the interpretation that best serves the customer. Okay, so we would get into it about things like that. It just got to a point where she was trying to find stuff wrong with what I was doing, but she was only exposing herself for how much she really didn't know, how much she really didn't understand what was going on. It's almost like her memory got erased and everything she knew about the job just, I used to be like, how did you train me and now you don't even know what you're doing? Like, that's crazy to me. So we're getting into it because you're picking fights with me, and then you're basically acting like I'm combative, like I'm always trying to come for you, and it's like you're being very passive aggressive. If you know me, you know I cannot stand a passive aggressive person. Don't try to just keep poking the bear and then trying to hide your hands and act like you're not doing something, and then when somebody comes back at you, now you're saying that person is being aggressive, or that person is always trying to come at you crazy and pick fights with you, and basically acting like I don't know how to like submit to authority, I guess. I don't know. So I found out that she basically cheated me out of my bonus and my raise. The amount that I got was a lot lower than a lot of people got, and I found that out. I'm always gonna find out. Anytime you're trying to do something shady to me, I'm gonna find out about it. So I complained about it and I let everybody know. I went up the chain of command. I will go all the way to the highest manager, okay? I'm not one of those people that's afraid to talk to whoever I need to talk to. I will pull somebody to the side in a minute. Like, hey, we need to talk. And another issue that I was having is I was getting more work than everybody else. Not only was I getting a higher workload, I was getting twice the amount of claims assigned to me that everybody else was getting, but also I was getting more complex claims. So if somebody is filing a claim because they have hail damage on their roof, that's considered a fairly simple, easy claim. That's probably going to be done within about a week or a week and a half. You'll be done with that claim and you can move on to the next. I was getting full house fires. So if I have 30 claims, it would be like 15 of those are my whole house burned down, okay? And then somebody else would have 20 claims and they would all be hail claims. Simple, easy. Now, if somebody's house burns down, that claim can stay open for a year or longer, 6 months to a year or even longer than that. You have so much more work to do. You have to get them into housing. You have to pay them for their personal property. The stuff like furniture, clothing, all that, that has to be inventoried. And then you have to figure out how much you owe to replace that stuff. You have to pay them for food receipts. Like if they're having to go out to eat, you got to calculate all that stuff. Pay them for gas overage if they're having to travel farther to their job or their kids' school because you had to relocate them while repairs are being done or while their house is being rebuilt. The repair itself is more extensive. It's just so much. You have to constantly be working on that claim over and over and over again. And you're dealing with about 5-6 different people on that claim. You have the insureds themselves. You have the people that you're sending out to look at their personal property, the people you're sending to inspect the house. You have so many people calling you on that one claim. If somebody has a hail claim, you send a contractor or you send somebody out to write a estimate to fix the roof, you pay for that and you're pretty much done until the repairs are complete and it's time to release what we call depreciation. So you don't have to get involved in that claim. We call it touching. You don't have to touch that claim as much. So my claims were lasting a lot longer than other people's claims. So as they were getting new claims, they were getting rid of them like that. My claims are staying open longer, and I'm constantly getting more claims added to my desk for things for me to do, and it becomes overwhelming. Okay, so at one point it was set up to where if you handle large losses, meaning you're handling full house fires, you're handling full house floods where the whole house floods, you don't get the same amount of work. You get less claims than everybody else because your claims are harder and they stay open longer. They took that away. They took the large loss adjuster away. Everybody was supposed to handle large losses. Okay, so it was supposed to even it out. The benefit to being a large loss adjuster is you didn't have to handle all those other little claims. They took that away. Now we're all supposed to handle large losses, but that's not happening. I'm handling all the large losses. I literally talk to my coworkers and I'm like, man, I got another fire claim. And they're like, I haven't got a fire claim all year. How do you have 15? How do you have 5? How do you have 3? And I haven't gotten one all year. It's supposed to rotate. The system is supposed to rotate them out. And so I'm getting confirmation from my coworkers that they're not having to do complex claims. They're coming to me like, dang, I got a call on one of your claims. Why you always get all the hard claims all the time? My coworkers are telling me you're getting the hard claims all the time. How do you do it? I have managers commenting saying that. Not only is it my employees, my coworkers confirming that, I have several managers confirming that I am getting more claims than everybody else and I'm getting harder claims. That's a double whammy. So that's already frustrating, but I'm dealing with it because I'm the type of person that I'm up for a challenge, whatever, it don't matter. I've worked at other insurance companies where you got a lot more work. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I can handle it. This is where it went wrong. They started complaining to me. Management started to complain to me because like they want you to answer every single phone call. If somebody calls, even if you're in the middle of working on something, they want you to answer all the phone calls. Imagine how many phone calls I was getting per day if I had all of that work. At one point, I was up to 65 claims where I had coworkers that had 15, 20, 30, and maybe up to 50. But I had 65, okay? Now, keep in mind, if you're in the insurance world, 65 claims at a time isn't bad if you work at a larger company. But when you work at a smaller company, there's less resources, so it's a lot, okay? So I have twice the amount, 2 to 3 times the amount of people calling me every day than my coworkers do. But you want to complain to me and say, oh, I'm getting more phone calls from your customers saying you're not answering the phone, and I'm not getting that same amount of people calling from your coworkers. They have twice as less work as me. They don't have, if we're talking about simple probability and statistics, if I have 2 to 3 times more claims than these people, doesn't it make sense that I have just as many more people calling me? So you're comparing apples to oranges. They love to compare apples to oranges and make me try to feel like I'm not a good employee when I'm doing more work around here than anybody. Talk about gaslighting. Talk about narcissists. Like, I swear I was in a toxic relationship with my job and they were a narcissist, okay? So not only are you making me work harder than everyone else, it is stressful. I'm working overtime for free because I'm a salaried employee at the time. I don't get paid for overtime. So when I work late, I don't get paid for that. I have to put in so many more hours to try to keep up because the incentive for working late, even though you're not getting paid, is that you will have peace of mind because you won't come in the next day to as much work. And they know that. So they know people are going to work for free even though they're not getting paid. So I'm working late every day. and I'm stressed out, and people are it's just like people pulling on my energy all the time. This customer's calling, I need you to extend my hotel. This person's calling, I want you to pay for my gas. This person's calling, you didn't pay me enough for this, you didn't do this. It's just people constantly calling. And then you have their contractors. That's a whole nother story. Contractors, I'm sorry, but a lot of y'all are scammers. Y'all be trying to make it seem like the insurance company is scamming, but with me working in the business, the amount of scamming that contractors do to try to make the insurance company pay way more than is actually owed, like, y'all better watch who y'all are letting just come in your house and start working on your house, for you end up owing some money because they really was doing too much. So now I'm having to deal with contractors, I'm having to deal with attorneys, I'm having to deal with public adjusters. It's just so much people pulling at my energy, and I'm not complaining. I'm not going to my manager like, hey, this is too much, I can't handle it. I'm not complaining. The only reason why I started to say something about it is because they started complaining to me as if they did not know what was going on. My managers knew I was working harder than everybody else, and they still complained to me, wanting more and more and more. I still can't understand it. So it got to a point where I had to go to 2 managers above my manager. So I went up 2 levels. And I was explaining to him, and he was like, I don't understand why they just can't reassign those fires to other people. Why do they have you doing all the fire claims in the whole department? I don't understand. And I was like, I don't understand either. Like, you tell me. I don't get it either. And I dang sure don't understand why you would poke the bear if I'm willing to do all of this work without complaining. Why the heck are you trying to push me and push me and push me because you mad because you got a call from a customer who said I didn't answer the phone? I was busy. I was doing something. I'm talking to another customer. Like, you tell that customer that you can help them, or they basically need to wait until I can get back to them. Period. Or you can reassign this work to people who only got 15 claims. Like, what kind of sense does that make? So I'm having to do more work than everybody else, harder work than everybody else. My manager is picking on me. I literally have all of this in documentation and emails and everything because I'm not stupid. I know how to document things. And even her manager was like, yes, she is a little bit too emotional, like the way that she handles situations, she gets too emotional about it. And I was like, exactly, like, she's poking the bear, and then when I finally growl at her, she want to say something like I'm the bad guy. So anyway, that was like a year ago when that first started happening. Before this lady became manager, we was cool. We was straight. She was like a mother figure to me. When she became the manager, like, she lost her freaking mind. I don't know what happened. I feel like it was a mix of her being overwhelmed, because I do feel like they took advantage of her a lot too. She was one of the few women managers in the department. So I feel like, as I said, women kind of get treated differently in the insurance industry than the males do. So she took on a lot of extra work and did a lot of stuff to help propel the department forward, and she wasn't necessarily being appreciated for it either. So I feel like she kind of just took it out on me. And she's also just very controlling. Like, she feels like you have to handle things the exact same way she will, when there is multiple ways that you can get the job done. You don't have to do everything exactly how somebody else does. There are rules and regulations that the Department of Insurance sets for each state, and you have to follow those rules and regulations. That's pretty much it. And then you have your company regulations that you have to follow. But there are certain things that it's up to you as the adjuster how you're going to handle it. And she wanted me to handle every little thing the way that she does, and then she would get frustrated when I didn't do it. So they made it seem like, oh, you're behind because you just don't know how to do your job and you don't know how to manage your time. Let's ignore the fact that you got 2 to 3 times more work than everybody else. You're behind because you don't know how to manage your time. Are you kidding me? So I said, you know what? Let somebody sit with me then for a whole day. They can sit with me and they can tell me what I'm doing wrong. So they set it up or whatever, No, that was actually her idea, but I said, you know what, I'm down for it because I know I'm not doing nothing wrong. But how dare you? Okay, I've been here for too long. How dare you think that somebody got to give me some pointers on how to do my job? But bring it on. I'm cool with it. So the lady sat with me and she was like, you do better than anybody else here. Like, I don't even know why they have me sitting with you. I'm so confused. I was like, girl, I'm confused too. She was like, why do they have me sitting with you? You don't do anything wrong. You do everything you're supposed. As a matter of fact, I would handle my stuff the way you do. She said that. I would handle my claims the exact same way you do. If your manager is upset with you because you're not doing stuff exactly the way she wants to, that's crazy. Like, everybody can do stuff their own way. You know, I couldn't wait to be like, hey, did you hear from, I'm not going to say the people's names. Did you get your report? Did you get that report from when so and so sat with me? What she say? What did she? Oh, I'm good, right? Oh, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So you would think that it would all stop there. Nope. Nope, it did not stop there. We still were going back and forth, having issues. I think one time she threatened that I had to come to the office to start, because I work from home. So she tried to threaten me that I had to start working in the office. I was like, okay, I'm gonna come to the office, all right, and bring this equipment and drop it off. Okay, I'm not coming back to the office. Heck no. Okay, the only time I'm doing that is to drop this equipment off. So then she kind of let it go. And she was kind of trying to push me towards going to other departments, like, ooh, this department is hiring. Do you want to go there? Or do you want to go here? I pretty much have done like most of the things you can do in the claims department at insurance. I've done bodily injury. I've done auto claims. I am leaving a position of doing homeowners claims. There really isn't too much more for me to do as far as claims, except for do commercial, which is doing like handling claims for businesses. So people that have business or commercial policies. We don't have a commercial department at my current place of employment, which is not going to be my place of employment in like next week. I keep calling it my job, but y'all know what I mean. We don't have a commercial department. There isn't a whole lot of places that I could go. Like, where the position that I have now is pretty much one of the prime positions to have at this company, unless you want to do management or unless you want to do training. I don't want to do training because I don't want to travel, and you have to travel if you want to be a trainer. I don't want to be a manager because I think being a manager is a trap, okay? Y'all got to be careful about them management positions, because you're going to be stressed out like, oh, girl, taking it out on your employees because you're not getting the bonuses that you want to. Like we would get bonuses as employees, and sometimes managers wouldn't. Or they would make them come back to the office for whatever reason, but they didn't make us come back to the office. They also work a lot of overtime for free as well. I feel like being a manager is a trap sometimes. So I've never wanted to be a manager. I just always wanted to be a high paid employee. Like, I'm not trying to be responsible for this whole department. And especially when upper management has unrealistic expectations. Like, my personality is not, I'm gonna kiss your butt enough for me to be a manager. It's just not. Like, I'm not gonna play by those rules that you have to play by and play the game in order to do that. And that's because it's not really a goal of mine. If that is a goal of yours, then do what you gotta do to get there, okay? But it's just not a goal of mine. So you're trying to get me to get out of this department and go somewhere else, and you're making it so obvious because you don't like me. So eventually I was like, I need y'all to get me off of her team. I'm done being on her team. I don't want to be on her team no more. Put me on somebody else's team, or I'm gonna go to HR because I'm getting sick of y'all. Like, and y'all still not paying me what I'm supposed to get paid, because this person gave me a horrible raise and a horrible bonus because they don't like me, and y'all allowed her to get away. They said they were gonna look into it, but they never got back to me, and I did not feel like bothering them about it again. Like, sometimes I don't feel like going back and forth, and I will settle for y'all just leave me alone and let me do my job. So they took me off her team, and I was put on another person's team. I explained to him what was going on with the other manager, and he was like, well, I'm not really a micromanager, so you should be fine over here. I actually have been working there longer than him, so it's another situation where I pretty much knew more than my manager anyway. So there's no need to micromanage me. I'm a self-starter. I get stuff done. I do stuff right. That's another problem. They said I was too detailed. You do stuff too right. You take too long to get stuff done. I'm not the kind of person that's going to halfway do something. When you are working in insurance and on insurance claims, there is a possibility that you will go to court, okay? If your insured decides to sue you or they don't like what you're doing, we could end up in court, which means our file, our notes, they're going to end up in court. So you don't want to halfway do your notes or like, you really don't. You have to consider what is a jury going to see whenever you are making your notes and this, that, and the other. So I make sure I do everything correct. But y'all want to keep comparing me to people that you know that aren't doing their job right and being like, well, this person can do their work in half the amount of time you can. First of all, they have less work than me, they have easier work than me, and they halfway do their jobs. Of course it's going to take them half the time. So you're telling me I'm too detailed. But then on the other hand, oh, if we go to court, I would want to have your file with me because your file, I know, is going to have everything right. So I'm being penalized for doing my job correctly and being too detailed and this, that, and the other. There have been plenty of times where customers have lied on me and said I didn't say something, didn't tell them something, or that I did something I didn't do. And I've been able to go back in my notes and be like, do you remember on this day and this time and these exact words that I said to you and these exact words that you said back to me? And they'd be like, yeah. Okay, so let's not lie on me then. Now, if I was not detailed in my notes, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm sorry, but I'm just the type of person that's thorough. And they were like, you're very thorough, but you're too thorough and it's slowing you down. They tried to say I was too thorough, too detailed, and I didn't know how to manage my time. And that's why I always had more work than everybody else, or I wasn't getting stuff done quickly, or I wasn't answering all the phone calls. When it really was, I had three times the amount of work as other people, and it was harder. Period, point blank. It's that simple. There's nothing else to it. And they would always try to get me to admit some kind of fault. Like, well, what are you doing to contribute to this? I'm not doing nothing to contribute. As a matter of fact, you give this same workload to somebody else and you tell me how they handle it, because I'm pretty sure it won't be as gracefully and as well as I have. And that's how I would talk to them. And it's like I had to, because you guys are trying to basically bully me and make me feel like I'm the problem here when y'all are the problem. And it's simply because you don't like me. So anyway, I get on this other man's team or whatever, and the same stuff is happening, right? So I'm like, okay, we've already talked about this before. Why am I getting more fires? I'm getting more fires. I'm getting more fires. At this point, I'm saying, I need you guys to reassign these fire claims to other people. Like, I'm tired of getting all the fires, and everybody's telling me they don't have any. So tell me why this man was like, how do you know? And I say, because they told me. First of all, we and my coworkers talk to each other. When I'm telling them about my claims, they're like, dang, I don't even have any fires. So it's a legitimate conversation that's happening where we're just talking about our day or whatever. And they're like, why do you keep getting all these hard claims? And then I can actually check in the system. There is a way to check in the system to see what type of claims people have. And I checked. I sure did. So I said I checked, and I've been told by my coworkers and other managers. And he was like, no, I don't know if that's correct. So he sent me a spreadsheet with everybody's name and the amount of fire claims that everybody had. Tell me why he made that stuff up. He made that stuff up because I didn't talk to these people and they didn't told me they didn't have any. Do you think somebody's gonna forget if they had a fire claim, a full house fire? You don't forget that kind of thing. So you're telling me this person has 7 fire claims when they clearly told me they don't have any and they haven't had any this whole year. So I come back and I say I want the claim numbers for all of those. If she had 7 fire claims, I want to see those 7 claim numbers so I can go in and look to verify that it's a fire claim. And also, was it a situation where somebody called to report the claim and then they can't change their mind and then it was closed and the person didn't have to do anything? I need to see this because I want to know how all these people forgot they had all these fire claims and why upper management didn't tell me about this, but all of a sudden now that I'm talking to you, now everybody has all these fire claims. When I've been complaining about having all these claims for over a year, nobody ever told me, oh, everybody else has these and you just tripping. Everybody validated what I said and said I was correct, and now this one manager has this spreadsheet showing all these fire claims everybody else had. You made it up, okay? And so eventually we got into an argument over that, and he was just like, do you have to be right all the time? Like, that's what he said to me. And I'm like, yeah, if you're basically trying to debunk what I'm saying and it's not, yeah, I'm gonna have to be right on that. Yeah, And so he was like, can you just let it go? Like, can we just move on and let it go? And I was like, that's fine, whatever. I ain't gonna forget, but I'll let it go. So we let it go, and let's fast forward to the past couple of months. So I'm in Texas. I'm in the South. Texas, California, Florida, particularly Houston and Texas is really bad. The Northwest, the Northeast, like a lot of those areas have really, really bad, unpredictable weather. So we've been going through it. Like, it's just been storm after storm after storm. And for the past couple years in Texas, there have been really bad freezes that have been happening. So we're getting so many claims coming in, and we have what's called a catastrophe department. They're supposed to handle all the big, large weather events that happen. But sometimes we, the regular adjusters, still have to do it. So we're getting all these claims coming in. It's busy, it's busy, it's busy. You can't even breathe, right? So I get an IM from my manager, and he's like, I'm so sorry. We've been super busy. I didn't realize you got so many claims. I'm turning you off of claims. So then I'm like, so I look and I see I got 65 claims. Which, like I said, for my company and the resources and the amount of people we have working, that's a lot. It might not be a lot for other companies that are larger, but for my company, it's a lot. So I get up to 65. I'm talking to one of my coworkers about it. She's like, I got 20 claims. I'm talking to somebody else. They're like, I got 40 claims. I'm like, okay. So I got 65, and some people got 15, some people got 20, some people got 40, some people have 50. Even if they have 50, I have 65. That's still 15 more claims. But I'm not going to say nothing because he has turned me off. I'm not getting any new claims. And that only does so much. They think if they turn you off from receiving new claims, that's going to help. It doesn't help. What helps is if you reassign the work to somebody else completely, not preventing me from getting more work. Reassign it to someone else. How about that? I tried to tell them that. They didn't want to do that. So I didn't complain. I said, whatever, I'm going to handle it gracefully. They approved for us to work overtime because, like I said, we're salary. We don't get paid overtime. But in certain instances, they will approve for us to get paid for overtime. So I was like working 12-hour days and this, that, and the other to try to get caught up. But at this point, you have acknowledged to me that you know I got more claims than other people. And you felt like you needed to apologize for the amount of claims I got. So I'm thinking we are on the same page, and you know that I have way more work to do than everybody else. Tell me why he complained. He still had the nerve to complain to me because somebody called him because I didn't answer the phone. I'm getting more calls for you than anybody. I was like, how many times are we going to go over this? Did everyone else get 65 claims when this storm was happening? No? Sorry, y'all. I don't know if my camera cut off or not. So, anyway. He was like, how do you know that they didn't get the same amount as you? I said, first of all, because I asked, which I have in writing. I asked in our IMs, did anybody get this many claims? And everybody said, no, they did not. Okay? And you felt the need to apologize to me and turn me off a claim. So, obviously, duh. Like, does it have to be spelled out? So he was, but before we got to that point, I didn't like the tone that he was speaking to me in. And he was like, yeah, you need to call this person now. But I just did not like the tone. And so when I say, oh, but I'm getting more claims than everybody else. So once again, why are you comparing me to everyone else? I don't care if you don't ever get a phone call from somebody if they only have 15, 20 claims. So what? You shouldn't get any phone calls for them. Duh, they should have all the time on their hands to answer every single customer's phone calls. And let's be clear, some of those people will call you 30 times in 30 minutes, and I'm not lying. They will call you back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I'm not talking to the same person all day, every day. How am I going to get work done if I'm doing that? Y'all know all of this stuff, and instead of investigating and asking more about what's going on, you want to immediately call me and go off on me. Then when we look into the claim that you're complaining to me about, we realize she's really upset about somebody else. We have like partners that we work with who actually go to people's houses to do the inspection. She's upset with him because he's not answering her questions about the estimate that he wrote. And instead of her calling his manager, she's blowing me up and calling my manager. But if you would have looked into that, you would have saw it didn't have nothing to do with me. So you over here yelling at me and getting an attitude with me over something that's really not my fault. So then he's like, well, I don't want to have a contentious working relationship. I want our working relationship to be better. So let's talk about how we can tailor your claim load to one that you can handle if you can't handle all of these large claims. I was like, excuse me, I don't need you to be saying I can't handle it, because not one time did I say I can't handle it. I said I don't like it when y'all clearly know that I have more work than everybody else and then complain to me about it. So if you're going to complain to me and compare me to other people, then you need to reassign this stuff. It has nothing to do with my ability to handle this. Let's get that straight. Period. Because y'all already had somebody sit with me and watch everything I do. Ain't nothing wrong with what I do. I do my job very well, okay? And I think there's construction going on, so I'm like, what the heck? I do my job very well, and I said that. I said I do my job very well. We don't have to talk about it right now. We don't have to talk about it right now. I said, okay, fine. I hung up the phone. I called the lady, said what I had to say to her, and I was like, I'm going to quit. And I told 2 of my coworkers, I said, I think it's time. I've been telling y'all I was going to quit, and I think it's time. And then the next day I said, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to do a reading, because you know I do readings. I'm going to do a reading on it. I'm going to sleep on it. And the next day I handed in my 2 weeks notice. I was just like, I didn't give no details. I just said, you know, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. My last day of availability is March 10th. So he called and he was like, I wasn't expecting that. You weren't expecting me to quit after we just got into it yesterday, and after we've had so many problems throughout the years. In particularly this past year, it never crossed your mind that I might quit. That tells you something right there. That these jobs think you really, really need them. They think they can use and abuse you. I'm a single mom. Okay, I'm young. They think, oh, you need this job. You don't have enough stability to actually quit. So I said, well, you know, y'all don't appreciate me, so I'm just leaving. And so he was kind of fishing, trying to figure out where I was going, because people assume you're going to another company if you quit. And I was just like, it's just time to part ways or whatever. So he was like, well, you don't have to come to the team meeting that we were going to have. You don't have to worry about that, and you don't have to really do any work for your last 2 weeks. We're still gonna pay you. Don't worry about that, because you know I'd have been like, I need my last 2 weeks pay. But he was like, you don't have to do any work for the last 2 weeks. I'm not like that though, so I still was doing my work anyway, because I'm not trying to leave people with all my work to do. So that's just, I was like, I don't mind finishing my work. That's fine. So, but when he got off the phone, I was like, I know he doesn't want me to go to the meeting because he's going to try to, like, see, does anyone know where I'm going? Tell me why. Because you know I'm going to find out what's said in the meeting. Tell me why he tells them, yes, Sierra's leaving, and if you want to know where she's going, feel free to call her and ask her where she's going. I mean, they're so predictable. So anyways, I am going to be turning in my equipment tomorrow. I have so many stories about how that job has done me wrong. They literally, like, I had a customer that was sexually harassing me, calling me all the time, asking me to marry him, asking do I have a husband. He would just call to talk to me. And it was like I can't get my work done because I can't just talk to you all the time. Sending me emailing me pictures of himself, all kinds of stuff. So he got mad one day because he decided he was going to come to the office. And we used to work in the office. I work from home now, but this is before COVID. So we were working in our corporate building. And so customers could come up there if they wanted to get their check or if they needed to drop off paperwork to us. But usually it's something that they ask you, am I allowed to come up there and let's schedule it? He just was like, yeah, I'm coming up to your job today to bring you this documentation. So I don't feel comfortable because the way he's been acting on the phone. So I asked one of my male coworkers, when this guy comes, can you go get the paperwork from him, please? And then he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I hope he's not going to be mad. I feel like he's going to be mad because I did not personally go get it from him, but I don't want him to see what I look like. I don't need him waiting on me after work. I feel like he's already looked me up online, so I don't want him to like see what car I'm going to and all that. Like when I leave, he's being like a weirdo, creep kind of person. So my coworker goes, gets the paperwork from him. I was like, how did he act? And he was like, he was cool. He was fine. He didn't seem mad. So I'm like, okay, that's great. Next thing you know, my work phone started blowing up. He's calling me over and over again. So I pick up the phone and he's screaming, this customer's, how dare you not come downstairs and get the paperwork for me yourself? How are you going to send somebody else? You're lazy. He said, I don't sit at home all day like you do. I still don't know what that means or why he said that when you're talking to me at work every single day. I'm at work right now. I don't know why. And of course, he was white. I'm black. Don't be saying stuff like that to black people because it makes it seem like you're racist. Like you think we're all lazy or something when I'm literally just talking. I'm talking to you at work. So he literally cussed me out, went off on me. I just hung up. I was like, whatever. Like, tell me why he starts calling my manager because I hang up. My manager comes over there. This is a whole different manager at the time. And he's like, this guy's saying you're not answering the phone. You need to call him back. You need to answer the phone for him. And I'm like, this guy is literally sexually harassing me. He's been harassing me for weeks, but I've just been dealing with it because at least it was over the phone. But he crossed the line when he came to the office unannounced and like was like, I'm on my way. And I sent somebody else down there. And I was like, he's just met his claim. There's nothing to discuss with him. All I needed was some paperwork from him to move to the next phase of the claim. He came to drop the paperwork off. Now it's going to be a few days. He understands it's going to be a few days for us to process that paperwork. What do you need me to call him back for? Well, you just need to call him back. You better call him back. You need to call him back. So I get into it with my manager or whatever. I call him back, but I'm like really upset because it's like, I just told you this man is sexually harassing me and you don't care. You just are like, I don't care. You still need to call him back. You don't even as a man decide to be like, well, let me call him back to see what's going on because, you know, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. And you just explained to me that there's really nothing else to talk to him about. So I'll call him back. So I go home, I'm upset, come back to work the next day. He has called pretty much every level of manager. So the unit manager, who was a woman at the time, she has got into the file and put this note in the file about how horrible of an adjuster I was and how I wasn't answering the phone for him and this, that, and the other. And the notes clearly show that the claim was up to date and there was nothing to be done. I did not go in there and put notes about him being like sexually harassing me because we have to be careful about the notes we put in the file because the file could go to court. So we can't just put every little thing that we want to put in there. So I did not put notes that he was sexually harassing me, but I told my manager that. And also, you can see in the file that there's nothing else that needs to be done right now. So why are you vilifying me in this note? So I sent her an email and I'm like, I don't understand why you're vilifying me in this note. That really upset me to come back to work after dealing with that and to see that. And y'all know this man has sexually harassed me. Y'all know I just have took FMLA like the year before, because I actually had a sexual assault situation happen to me and I had to take FMLA to go to counseling. So I would leave work early to go to counseling. Everybody knew that. So you know that. You know this is a trigger and you still go in the file instead of talking to me to see what's going on, and you just try to make me look bad in the file. So she was like, oh, well, your manager felt so bad when you left. He was like, oh, I didn't handle that right. I felt so bad. I was like, yeah, right. And so next thing I know, like, one of the managers from California came, because I'm in Texas, but the headquarters is in California. I think they thought I was going to sue them or make a big deal. I did not make a big deal out of it. I just, after that, I left it alone. But I was like, just don't come at me like that again. I've never taken things as far as I could have taken them when they have done something that's clearly discriminatory towards me or just out of line. The only thing I do is stand up for myself. I'll send them an email or I'll have a meeting with them or whatever and tell them, give them a piece of my mind, and then I keep it moving. Like, I'm not trying to destroy this company or anything like that. But it's like, y'all keep coming for me. How much do y'all expect me to take? Y'all want me to be abused and sexually assaulted and sexually harassed by customers and just take that. As a matter of fact, she told me part of our job is to just handle abuse. We get abused sometimes on the job. That's just what comes with the job. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Not over here. Heck no. Customer is not always right when they sexually harassing you. I don't want to hear that. I'm not letting nobody cuss me out and do none of that. Y'all ain't paying enough for that, okay? But that's what she said. Like, part of the job is to be abused. Like, these jobs expect you to just be abused. Take abuse from customers and from managers and other coworkers. Like, I've had coworkers literally get upset because a manager asked me to do something in their file. I'm sitting down. Mind you, I'm 4'11". I'm a small person. This is a big, burly, manly lumberjack lady, right? And standing over me while I'm sitting down, yelling in my face because she's mad because I did something a manager asked me to do in her file when she's gone. And we get into it, okay? And it was a big deal because the unit manager heard us get into it or whatever. But it was clear that she was the aggressor. Why this lady who is white tell me I was being aggressive? She was the one standing over me, screaming in my face. I'm sitting down. You can't even hear my voice. The only voice people could hear was hers. You couldn't even hear what I was saying. And you're telling me I was being aggressive in that situation. This is so layered because, like I said, whether people want to accept it or not, I don't care if we're in 2023, 2022, 2019, there is a underlying level of racism in corporate America, period, point blank. I don't even think that people necessarily mean to be that way, but it comes out when you are calling me aggressive just because I'm a black woman and we're just expected to be aggressive. If we say something back to you, we're being aggressive, but you're literally standing over me screaming in my face, but I'm the aggressive one. I'm telling you the amount of stories that I can tell from just being at that one job. This video is already long and it would be so much longer. So I don't know if I'm going to get another job. I don't know if I'm going to try to work at another insurance company or be like an independent adjuster. I don't know if I'm going to try to do a different field. The good thing about being an adjuster with insurance, you have a lot of transferable skills, so you can go into doing other things because you have to be all kinds of things in one when you're an adjuster. You have to be an adjuster, a contractor. You have to understand law, be able to communicate with attorneys, understand health language. Like, understand how to write letters and professional writing. And it's so many skills that you have to have that are transferable. But right now I'm feeling like I'm just going to be focusing on my own business, focusing on my health, my blood pressure. I have all this documented. My blood pressure went high. I was going to the doctor, had to get on blood pressure medication. She was telling me your job is not worth you losing your life or having health problems. All of this is documented in case I need it later, okay? Like I said, I ain't making no kind of claims that I can't back up. So I want somebody to say that I'm embellishing or anything. Trust me, I can back it up. So my blood pressure was high. I have really bad sinuses, sinus infections, allergies, eczema. They would get mad at me because they would stress me out to the point where I had to take off, use my sick days. So I wasn't the type that took vacation. I didn't use my vacation days. I only used them if I was sick. If I didn't have a sick day, I would use a vacation day. I didn't say, oh, I need a whole week off around Christmas or Thanksgiving, or I need to go on a 2-week vacation. I never did that. I only used them when I needed to, use them because I was sick and I couldn't do my work. And they would get mad at me for doing that. Well, this is an unplanned. You didn't plan to take this time off, so this is unplanned. Okay, what does it matter? It's my vacation day. I can do what I want to do with my vacation day. I don't feel good. Y'all be taking 2 or 3 weeks off at a time, and you're mad because I take 2 and 3 days here and there scattered throughout the year. Like, are you kidding me? That's also how I end up with a lot more work than everybody else, because I'm here more often than everybody else. Everything I do is a problem. So it got to the point where my health was affected. As you can see, like, this area is, this is what my skin tone is right here. But I have darkness all over my chest and my neck, my arm right here. That is because I got so stressed out. I broke out. My whole body broke out in eczema. And I have like a really aggressive form of eczema where, like, I did immunotherapy shots and all this stuff, and it really doesn't work. So part of how I started my business was I started making my own products to help me heal from my eczema. And then it got to the point where it got so bad that it was like all over my body because I was so stressed out. So I'm going to focus more. I do have products that I've created for eczema and for hyperpigmentation, which is the darkness. So the reason why I'm not extremely worried about it is because I can get rid of this. This will be gone. I have products that I've created that I've used anytime this happens and I have to get rid of. I'll just use that. So I'm going to be focusing more on my products, creating more products. I'm a big, believer in transmutation. So whenever something bad happens, I transmute that and turn it into something that is good or that works for me instead of working against me. So because I have this condition, which is highly affected by stress, I was able to create products to help me and help others. I have people, testimonials, all of that about the soap and the eczema products that I make. So I'm going to be focusing more on getting my skin back where I need it to be now that I'm not going to be so stressed out. So stay tuned and watch my journey on that. Also developing more products and candles and life coaching. People have been asking me about life coaching, especially people that follow me on Facebook, because I just do I'm always putting out a new project. So even though I was going through that much stress and I was working that much, I still was writing books and creating books. I still was starting a candle business. I still was creating my products. I still was doing readings for people. I still was constantly putting out new products every week. And people were like, how are you doing that? Where are you getting the energy to do that? And so imagine what I can do now that I have more time on my hands, basically. So I'm gonna just see if I can do the entrepreneur thing full time, and I might freak out and get another job, but I don't know. It is scary. Okay, I have a lot of Capricorn placements, so the sense of responsibility for me is very strong. I've never felt so comfortable. This is probably the worst time for me to have quit my job. There's times where I could have quit my job before and it would have been a better time, and I felt more scared and afraid to do it then than I feel at peace now. My parents support me, my sister supports me, my coworkers support me. Everybody supports me because they've been along for the journey and they know all of the stuff that I went through, and my coworkers know I was basically being taken advantage of and bullied, period, point blank. So there's only so much that one person can take. So what I'm doing for now is I'm gonna deep clean my apartment. I haven't been able to do all the things that I wanted to do, like scrubbing the baseboards like I used to, because I was focusing so much on work. So I'm gonna deep clean my apartment. I gotta do my taxes. I'm gonna do my taxes today and tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to get more content out. And I'm still trying to see if there are certain vendor events that I'm gonna do or not do, because last year those really didn't turn out that great. And wish me luck, y'all. Send me all the good vibes. I definitely need it. No hater vibes. I don't want no hater vibes from any of y'all. Okay, send me good vibes. And if you are in a situation where you're being bullied, picked on, taken advantage of at work, not appreciated, I am so sorry that you're having to deal with that, and I hope that the circumstances get better. Hopefully they'll get better at work so you don't have to quit, especially if it's a job. I would not have minded keeping my job. I mean, why not? I work from home. I could go pick my son up, drop him off to school, pick him up. My schedule is flexible. It literally was just that the people that I was working for were making it pretty much impossible for me to stay there because of the way that they were treating me. But if you're able to work things out and stay at your job, then if that's what you want, I hope you're able to do that. Nobody wants to have to quit their job and lose income, but some of us, we just aren't meant to work in one place for too long. We're not meant to have bosses. We're not meant to be in corporate America. We have a different purpose that we're supposed to be serving. And when I was at my job, I made sure that I stood up for everybody, and I think everybody really appreciated that. But that can also make you a target as well. So you have to know what your goals are. If you want to stay and retire at your job, you might have to move a little bit different than I did, because they won't like you if you speak up too much. So you may want to just kind of be quiet and go with the flow. I just don't have that kind of personality where I'm able to do that. So it's only up from here. I'm affirming that it's only up from here. If you have horror stories at work, let's talk about it. You can tell us in the comment section. Maybe I'll finally go live one of these days. But anyways, hopefully that wasn't too confusing. It was more of a rant than a story time. So maybe I'll refine this and tell the individual stories of what all happened in another video. So thank you for taking the time to watch. I would appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe if you feel called to do so. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.